Hello, senior high school students. How are you doing? I hope you were able to catch up with all the tasks, lessons, and activities we give you in your learning activity sheets. We are already on the fourth quarter and nasa second week na nga tayo, and I am confident that we are going to finish this race successfully with the cooperation of everybody. For this week's lesson, our topic is formulating an evaluative statement. In this last two, I am going to teach you on how to formulate an evaluative statement. You have to remember that when you read critically, it does not stop by simply analyzing the argument of the text alone. But you also have to know how to make an evaluative statement which will be in a form of a critic paper. Evaluating statements about a text happens after you have read the text carefully and critically. You're able to grasp the essence of the text and check for possible fallacies. When you say fallacies, these are the mistaken ideas in the argument. It aims to give a better explanation to show the strength and weaknesses of something through writing. It presents a value judgment based on a set of criteria. This is from the book entitled Formulating Evaluative Statements in 2019. There are two steps in making an evaluative statement, in which we are going to unfold or uncover in this class. First, formulating assertions about the content and the properties of a text read, and second, formulating a meaningful counterclaim in response to a claim made in the text read. Here are the objectives of today's lesson. At the end of this activity sheets, you should be able to first identify how to make assertion. Next, you are going to interpret and explain assertion of the content and properties of an academic text. And you are also going to analyze the text argument. Lastly, you are going to compose a counterclaim in response to the text read. First, let us define what is an assertion. When you say assertion, these are declarative sentences that claim something is true about something else. It can either be true or not. If you assert your claim, it means that you either have evidence to support it, or you are letting your own confidence that people will agree into your viewpoint. So on the other hand naman, counterclaims are statements that you use to rebut previous claim or claims made by the writer or spoken by the speaker in an oral argument. So before you will be able to create a counterclaim, you must first be able to make an assertion about the text that you have critically read and back it up with an evidence. So for it to become a strong argument. In this class, there are activities that will guide you on how to formulate an assertion based on the text that you have read and create counterclaim. So you also have to remember that in these activities, you will be needing to apply the skills that you have learned from analyzing the properties of a well-written text, type of claims and strategies in critical reading from the previous class. Okay, let us try the following activities. I am going to read here a short article, and then later on you are going to answer the questions in order to make your own assertion about the text that I am going to read. Remember to write your answer in a separate sheet of paper. As online learning becomes more common and more resources are converted to digital form, some people have suggested that public libraries should be shut down, and in their place, everyone should be given an iPad with an e-reader subscription. Proponents of this idea state that it will save local cities and towns money because libraries are expensive to maintain. They also believe it will encourage more people to read because they won't have to travel to a library to get a book. They can simply click on what they want to read and read it from wherever they are. They could also access more materials because libraries won't have to buy physical copies of books. They can simply rent out as many digital copies as they need. However, it would be a serious mistake to replace libraries with tablets. First, digital books and resources are associated with less learning and more problems than print resources. A study done on tablet versus book reading found that people read 20 to 30% slower on tablets, retain 20% less information, and understand 10% less of what they read compared to people who read the same information. Additionally, staring too long at a screen has been shown to cause numerous health problems, including blurred vision, dizziness, dry eyes, headaches, and eye strain at much higher instances than reading print does. People who use tablets and mobile devices excessively also have a higher incidence of more serious health issues such as fibromyalgia, shoulder and back pain, carpal tunnel syndrome, and muscle strain. I know that whenever I read from my e-reader for too long, my eyes begin to feel tired and my neck hurts. We should not add to these problems by giving people, especially young people, more reasons to look at screens. Second, it is incredibly narrow-minded to assume that the only service libraries offer is book lending. Libraries have a multitude of benefits, and many are only available if the library has physical location. Some of these benefits include acting as a quiet study space, giving people a way to converse with their neighbors, holding classes on a variety of topics, providing jobs, answering patron questions, and keeping the community connected. One neighborhood found out that after a local library instituted community events such as playtimes for toddlers and parents, job fairs for teenagers, and meeting spaces for senior citizens, over a third of residents reported feeling more connected to their community. Similarly, a Pew survey conducted in 2015 found that nearly 2/3 of American adults feel that closing their local library would have a major impact on their community. People see libraries as a way to connect with others and get their questions answered. Benefits tablets can't offer nearly as well or as easily. While replacing libraries with tablets may seem like a simple solution, it would encourage people to spend even more time looking at digital screens. despite the myriad issues surrounding them. It would also end access to many of the benefits of libraries that people have common to rely on. In many areas, libraries are such an important part of the community network that they could never be replaced by a simple object. Let's now have the guided questions. Now that you're able to formulate a simple argumentative statement from your analysis, let us now try making counterclaim. Alright, let's go to the next activity. From the assertion that you have composed, you are now going to create an argumentative statement. You can use the table on your last, nasa page 6, that will guide you in writing your argumentative statement. So there are 3 columns that you are going to make. First column, you have to provide your claim. Next will be your reason. And on the third column, you're going to give evidence. Remember that when you say claim, it is the statement that states your opinion or your stand about the text. For the reason naman, you are going to give at least 2 reasons to support your claim based on the text that you have read. Yung binasa ko kanina. Ano-ano ba yung mga reasons na pwede nyong mabigay para isupport yung claim ninyo or yung stand ninyo doon sa binasa kong text. And for the evidence, you are going to cite at least 2 statements that you have read or from the passage that we have read that give proof or support your claim and reasoning. Whenever you are writing an argument, never forget to address the opposing side of your position. The section where you address the argument of your opponent is what we call a counterclaim or counter-argument. It is a sign that you have a very strong argument. So on the next page of your last, nasa page 6, there is an example how an ordinary argument can be transformed into a much stronger statement by using counter-argument. There is a simple argument here saying, drug addicts, just like us, are also humans. They need our helping hands for them to stop and change for the better. If we are going to make counterclaim or counter-argument using the simple argument that I have read, so it should be like this. Sabi kanina, you are going to address muna the side ng opponent or the opposing statement. It should be, while it's true that drug addicts are one of the reasons why there is a high crime rate in our country, we must not forget that they are also people like us. They need our helping hands for them to stop and change for the better. In this statement, instead of plainly saying your claim and the reason, sabi ko nga, you have to address the argument that the opposition might say against your own. This will make your argument much stronger. Here are the questions that will help you to formulate your own counterclaim regarding the text. Una, what are the major points on which you and the author can disagree? What is their strongest argument? What did they say to defend their position? What are the merits of their view? What are the weaknesses or shortcomings in their argument? Are there any hidden assumptions? Which lines from the text best support the counterclaim you have formulated? Knowing these key points will help you formulate a strong argument and at the same time compose a counterclaim to their strongest argument. Now, going back to the text in Activity 1, the writer did address the arguments of the opposition. he or she had amazingly counterclaimed it. So in your answer sheet, you have to list at least 2 or more issues or arguments that the writer had counterclaimed in his or her argumentative essay. I'll give the first example. Nandito na siya sa last. Basahin ko lang. Reading digital books will encourage people to read. The writer counterclaimed this in the 3rd paragraph by stating statistical data that shows that people who read digital books are slow reader than those who read printed materials. They are also on high risk of getting health problems. So kayo na ang magbigay ng 2 or more issues na magsusupport ng argument ninyo. Okay, so for the last part, which is the evaluation, as I have mentioned in Activity 2, the argumentative essay presented in Activity 1 is also an example of an argument with counterclaim. Now, it's your turn to compose your own essay with counterclaim, following the tips that I have gave you. Okay, so just follow the criterion presented sa last page ng last ninyo on how you will be graded. Okay, so should you have any question, do not hesitate to send me a direct message on Messenger or text me through the cell phone number that I gave you. Okay, so until next week for the third week ng ating quarter 4. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this video lesson will help you a lot in answering your learning activity sheets.